What is up, guys? NYKia31 here, bringing you a Madden 25 online ranked game. Only have a couple of more days of Madden 25 left before we're on to Madden New Year and the new game, so only a few more Madden 25 videos are in the pipeline. In this game, I am using the Denver Broncos, the forgotten great team of Madden 25. With this being a year where the pistol run, the pistol option, and the outside power running game reigned supreme, this offensive juggernaut got ignored. But not by me, not by someone like myself who likes to play a variety of styles and show off a variety of different flavors of football. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about, well, what I'm really going to do is kind of a two-part mini-series, I guess. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the playbook that I'm using here in this game, the Bill Walsh playbook, and pay a little bit of homage to the genius that is Bill Walsh and the West Coast offense. Now, I'm a self-admitted run-and-shoot fanboy, and I'm more of a fan of the vertical style passing game. But Walsh was such an innovator, and really his approach to football has really shaped the landscape of the National Football League more so than anyone else in the past 40 to 50 years, in my opinion, at least in the modern era, and also in the college and high school ranks. You see strains of the West Coast offense in every playbook in the NFL, so much so that, calling it or labeling an offense a West Coast offense is really, pretty meaningless. Everyone runs West Coast pass concepts married with other concepts that have spread throughout the years. But I like to think of Walsh as the tree and all of the other variations that have sprung from what he designed as the branches. I mean, Walsh, as much as developing an offensive system, he really pioneered and transformed how teams game plan, how they prepare, how they call plays, how they use personnel. If you look at the way the game is played now, both how it's officiated, how teams are built, how teams play, you see Walsh's fingerprints everywhere. Somewhere, God rest his soul, I believe Bill Walsh looks down at the NFL and smiles. He nods his head and says, "Yeah, that's my vision of football." And his vision of football has pretty much defined the sport. It's kind of hard to imagine in our time, but really, for most of its history, for decades, football was basically a power run, play action pass, 7-step drop, vertical passing type of game. That's the way teams were built, and that's the way teams were successful for a very long time. But what would happen when you ran up against a unit like the... First of all, before I go any further, sometimes I feel like I'm the luckiest Madden player in the world. He sniffs out the screen, I see a little bit of space in the seam, I try to zip it in there, the ball gets deflected and goes right back to Demarius Thomas. But anyhow, as I was saying, what if you run into a team like the great Pittsburgh Steelers steel curtain defenses? You try to run the ball on first down, you get nothing. You try to run the ball again second down, you get nothing. Now it's third and long, and your quarterback is running for his life because you're stuck now running a long developing pass play that has no chance. Walsh flipped the script on that. He was one of the first people to really figure out that if you stretch the defense horizontally and make them account for running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends as receiving threats every single down, but more so than that, using those passing threats as an extension of the running game. Short, precise, rhythm-based timing on the move to guys moving in space. The defense, A, couldn't cover them all, and B, that rhythm passing will beat a fierce pass rush. 3-step drop, 5-step drop, boom, the ball's away. Everything was tied to really precise timing between the quarterback's drop, plant, and release, and the wide receiver's break point. Everything had to be on time. Get that ball out on time and put yourself out of harm's way and frustrate the defense and demoralize the defense by sustaining a ball control attack through the air. And then when they got frustrated and gassed chasing around all these receiving threats all over the place, then you could take your shots downfield and then you could close the game out with your running game. That was the genesis of his offensive philosophy in a nutshell. And then, of course, as his system progressed and evolved, more aggressive downfield route concepts were tagged to the shorter route combinations, and in its most modern evolutions, option routes were tagged to the core West Coast offense route concepts to make the route patterns harder for defenses to pattern read. And that's what you see all over the NFL and throughout the college game today. Does it look quite like this? With these old school under center pro set near and far formations? No, not quite. The game has gone more shotgun and spread oriented since Walsh's heyday, but the foundational elements of his offense are still there. I would say out of the guys that are coaching now, I would say the most pure form of West Coast offense is probably run by Andy Reid. John Gruden, he was a West Coast guy, as is his brother Jay Gruden. John Gruden basically resurrected Rich Gannon's career. The Shanahans, Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan. Gary Kubiak is someone who I would call a West Coast purist. My Jets, believe it or not, have a very traditional West Coast type of feel to their offense under Marty Mornhinweg. It sucks. It stinks. They have no personnel, but that's what they run. That's their core offense. And then you have guys who have really turbocharged it. Mike McCarthy and Sean Payton, they're guys who have really given it a shot in the arm with a lot more vertical concepts. They've kind of meshed the Don Coryell vertical stems type of offense with the West Coast, and also in the case of the Packers. And also you see this throughout the league as well with the dual threat quarterbacks that are in the league, marrying it with the zone read type of running game. Heck, even Andy Reid has incorporated more spread elements to his passing game and his offense to accommodate Alex Smith. And that's really what football is now. It's the marriage and meshing of all of these styles that have influenced the league throughout the years and putting their own individual stamp and flavor on it and calling it and making it their own. The next video that I'm going to do in this little mini series that I'm doing here will be comparing the Bill Walsh offense to the other West Coast offense, the Don Coryell Air Coryell system. How are they different? How are they the same? And also I'm going to touch on the run and shoot and answer the question, or at least give my theory as to why on earth the run and shoot offense, as productive as it's been throughout its history, why hasn't it ever won anything? It's come close, it's worked at every level of football it's ever been tried, but it's gotten a bit of a bad rap historically. The run and shoot as a full-time, 4 wide receiver, all the time system has gone away, but the concepts that make the run and shoot such a devastating offensive system still live on and are incorporated in every playbook in the league. The Giants won 2 Super Bowls under Kevin Gilbride and his what I call pro-style run and shoot. The Buffalo Bills went to 4 Super Bowls in a row running the K-gun, which had a lot of run and shoot characteristics to draw upon Jim Kelly's strengths from his USFL days. The 2007 Patriots borrowed a lot of run and shoot concepts to their explosive passing attack. I also have another one of my film chats, so to speak. I'm going to be talking about the Chip Kelly offense. I'm going to try to find a way to incorporate and compare what he did at Oregon with how he has adapted his offense to the pro game. What has he kept? What has he changed out of necessity? So that should be a fun little breakdown to do. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Talk to you all later. Peace.